Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geological Society, to our 2023 awards ceremony. We're here together in Burlington House. It's wonderful to see so many of you here. Those who can't be here are online somewhere in the world, and we hope we'll be able to involve them in the proceedings. I just want to begin with some boring but essential housekeeping regarding fire escapes. If there were to be a fire alarm, there's no fire alarm practice drill planned. The means of escape are through that curtain, which is not a changing room, but a fire escape, and there are two doors at the back on either, well, two doors on that side and one door at the back on that side. The assembly point is in the courtyard outside the Royal Astronomical Society. If you don't know where that is, look at Joshua Reynolds and stand somewhere in the middle of the left-hand side of the courtyard, and you'll be in the muster point. We're not expecting any of that to happen. So, before we start on today's awards and medals, I want to begin with mentioning just some of the applied, industrial and academic geology awards made by the Society's specialist and regional groups throughout the year. I'd first like to mention the Energy Geoscience Medal for 2023, which was presented to Dr. Marie Cowan, MBE, and the Early Career Geoscientist Medal, which was confirmed upon Dr. Natalie Farrell. The Engineering Group's 2023 Glossop Medal Lecture will be by Dr. John Cripps of the University of Sheffield on the 23rd of November. And the Engineering Group also, in association with that event, invites all its young engineering geologists to enter the 26th Annual Glossop Award for 2023. And the prestigious award is made annually to an outstanding young engineering geologist or geoenvironmentalist. The 2023 winner has not yet been announced, as far as I know. The Hydrogeological Group has 3 medalists in 2023. Due to a pause in awards for a couple of years, this year 2 Whitaker medals were awarded to Professor Tim Atkinson of University College London and Melinda Lewis of the British Geological Survey. Its inaugural early career medal was presented to Sean Arnott of the Environment Agency. So they've been catching up. The Hong Kong Regional Group has created a new medal, a new local award recognizing outstanding service to Hong Kong geoscience, the Workman Malpass Medal. The terms of reference have been signed off, medals have been struck, and the first award will be in 2023. Please could we give our first round of applause to the winners of these prestigious awards and all other specialist group and regional group award winners. If you know of a medal or award missing from this list, please let us know so that the recipients can be celebrated and acknowledged in future years. So well done to everyone. So for today's proceedings, we now come to the President's Awards. These are conferred upon early career geologists, geoscientists who show significant promise and are judged as potential leaders in their fields. The awards are entirely within the gift of the President, so that's me. But I can and have sought advice from people who are well placed to recognise exceptional promise. I'm delighted to present the first President's Award to Hannah Buckland of Swansea University. We've got a system, but it's still, being stress tested. Since graduating with a PhD from the University of Bristol in 2021, Dr. Hannah Buckland has already built a reputation as a highly respected scientist within the UK volcanic community and more widely. Her PhD research, focusing on the dispersion and preservation of ash from the Mazama eruption in the USA, used several techniques, including field analysis, to understand the eruption. She also developed a network of scientists to aid her learning and development and improve her results, particularly around the application of numerical models to big eruptions. An excellent communicator, Hannah has won or been runner-up for best presentation at several conferences and frequently initiates discussions on social media around sharing data and code, which aids other researchers. She has contributed to the well-being of the volcanic early career researchers community throughout the pandemic and currently co-leads an ECR reading group, which brings together a global community of researchers to discuss new papers. Hannah, not only are your contributions to science already impressive, you show an excellent capacity to collaborate and support the geoscience community for the progression of science, a great attribute for becoming a leader in the field. Please come and receive this President's Award. Over here, and then we'll have a photograph of all the early career awards. Thank you. The second President's Award goes to Dr. David William Whitworth. David is a PhD student at Keele University, currently on secondment with Merlin Energy Resources Limited. David graduated with a first in geology from Royal Holloway, University of London in 2019, and went on to achieve a distinction in MSc Petroleum Geoscience the following year. By then, he had already established himself as an exceptional early career researcher, having been awarded the Finder University Masters Student of the Year, third prize in the Halliburton Earth Model Award, and European semi-finalists in the AAPG Imperial Barrel Award. Currently studying for a PhD in sedimentology and carbon storage at Keele University as part of the new GeoNet Zero Centre for Doctoral Training for the Energy Transition, David regularly gives outreach talks in schools and universities alongside his research. He has worked tirelessly to improve the student experience, starting at Royal Holloway, where he worked on an initiative to found a university mental health support network, represented the department and university at academic meetings, and acted as Lyell Society president in his final year. He continues to provide both support and leadership to those around him, whilst demonstrating his commitment to progressing the energy transition. David is currently on secondment with Merlin Energy Resources Limited, where he works as a CCS, that's carbon capture and storage, reservoir geologist, building a consulting client base in all things CCS and energy storage. David Whitworth, alongside your exceptional early career research, you demonstrate yourself to be a future leader in your field by working tirelessly to support and inspire the next generation of geoscientists. You are a most worthy recipient of the President's Award. When all the early career awards have been awarded. Thank you. Oh, is Penny on? Everybody's online. Okay. The Murchison Fund is awarded to Dr. Penny Weiser of Berkeley University, California. She's online, she can't be with us today. Since graduate, I hope her picture is going to come up very shortly. Something just went across. Yes, there she is. Could we ask the other participants to turn off their, anyway, I won't interfere. So, since graduating with a PhD from the University of Cambridge 2 years ago, Dr. Penny Weiser has developed a formidable CV, tackling important problems relating to volcanic processes and publishing numerous high-impact papers. Her research addresses magma storage, transport, and volcanic eruption processes using geochemical, mineral science, and modelling approaches, and has already resulted in a number of significant advances in the field. Following the completion of her PhD, with a thesis made up of 5 first author papers, Penny immediately won a tenure track position at the University of California in Berkeley, USA, which she took up following postdoctoral research at Oregon State University. Since arriving at Berkeley in July 2022, she has won a major National Science Foundation grant and set up her Raman spectroscopy lab alongside a suite. Of course, she's alongside a suite of other instruments, as well as publishing extensively. In the past 2 years, she has already delivered 12 invited talks across major conferences and US and UK universities. She is clearly on a trajectory to an enormously successful research career. Penny Weiser, with an exemplary track record so early in your career, we are delighted to award you the Murchison Fund of the Geological Society of London. And I hope we can keep Penny's picture on the screen, so at least we can sort of get her in a picture. Oh, there we are. Can we make her any bigger? Let me just make it. Let me sit down. I do. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going for a different order. So the William Smith Fund is awarded to Samantha Engwell from the British Geological Survey, who is also online. There she is. There she is. Excellent. Less than 10 years since the award of her PhD from the University of Bristol, Dr. Samantha Engwell has established herself as a leading international early career researcher in volcanology. Now a senior volcanologist at the British Geological Survey, she works with leaders from across academia, industry, and government institutions, analysing hazard data to produce tools to inform decision-making and policy, and providing formal advice on volcanic hazards to the UK government and EU civil protection. Through statistical analysis of field data and dynamic numerical modelling, her research has pioneered our understanding of the uncertainties of eruption volumes and parameters, and her methods are being widely applied. Alongside continuing to produce novel and insightful work on volcanic processes and hazards, she has recently begun research into how volcanic eruptions initiate tsunamis, characterizing deposits from the recent Krakatoa eruptions and modeling their impact. She sits on the World Meteorological Organization's advisory group on volcanic science for applications and is scientific liaison between the International Civil Aviation Organization and the International Union of Geodesy and Geophysics. Samantha Engwell, you demonstrate excellence and innovation in your use of research to better understand volcanic processes and hazards. With our commendations, we present you with the William Smith Fund of the Geological Society of London. I'm so sorry for getting you out of order, but I'm now back on the right page. The Wollaston Fund is awarded this year to Emily Swaby of the Open University. Emily is currently studying for a PhD at the Open University with a thesis titled The Effect of the Toarcian Early Jurassic Extreme Environmental Change on Insects. Her important contributions to the field of paleontology include a redescription of giant Jurassic ichthyosaur, oh crikey, Temnodontosaurus crasimanus, Temnodontosaurus crasimanus, is that right? Since first volunteering at the Doncaster Museum and Art Gallery at age 14, she has shown exceptional promise as a paleontologist, from winning a Young Darwin Scholarship in 2014 to the Paleontology Project Prize in 2018 from the University of Portsmouth. She has also volunteered significant amounts of her time, most notably within the excavation team for the Rutland Sea Dragon, the largest, most complete ichthyosaur ever unearthed in Britain, in addition to the fossil fishing at the farm site, a new Jurassic Lagerstätte in Stroud. So that's Stroud, Gloucestershire. A committed science communicator, she has had several popular articles and blogs published, has spoken on BBC Inside Science on Radio 4, and has contributed to a wide variety of outreach events, including the Lyme Regis Fossil Festival and Soapbox Science. Emily Swaby, you demonstrate yourself an outstanding paleontologist and a committed science communicator. We are delighted to award you the Society's Wollaston Fund for 2023. Too bad. Yes, I've just not found it. The Lyell Fund of the Society is awarded this year to Dr. Hanna Yurikova of St Andrews University. Dr. Hanna Yurikova is an outstanding early career geochemist who has made seminal and innovative contributions to our understanding of paleoproxies and to reconstructing pH and CO2 change through geological time. After undergraduate studies in biology, she took an MSc in oceanography at the University of Barcelona before carrying out PhD research in marine biogeochemistry at the Geomar Helmholtz Center for Ocean Research in Kiel, Germany, graduating in 2018. In a series of 8 innovative geochemistry papers, all published since 2019, Hanna has established the use of the boron isotope pH proxy in brachiopods, and in so doing has expanded the reach of this novel and increasingly used proxy by over 450 million years. Her outstanding contribution to the geosciences also extends into mentorship, conference and event organisation, and public engagement. Since 2017, she has organised 10 events at major conferences, has mentored numerous students, and has made TV and radio appearances across Europe. She is currently continuing her media engagement as part of a new BBC ZDF documentary series about the Earth's history and climate change. With an exceptional contribution to both geochemistry and the geoscience community early in your career, Hanna Yurikova, please accept with our congratulations the Lyell Fund of the Geological Society of London. Is that the early career awards? So would you like to take a picture of the group? I've had them standing. Yes. Can we get Penny and Samantha back on the screen, please?
So can I get forward just a little bit? So it's less the usual suspect. That was fabulous. Thank you. 2, 3, and yeah, a little bit of a turn. Fantastic. Congratulations. Thank you.
Before leaving the early career awards entirely, I just would like to mention the winner of the Society's Early Career Geologist Award. This is awarded after an annual competition that is designed to showcase the talent and skills of individuals who are still in the early stages of their respective geoscientific careers. The event consists of preliminary heats, which are run by the Society's various regional groups, with the winners subsequently being invited to participate in the national final, which had to take place online, not because of COVID, but because of a rail strike, unfortunately. That was on the 31st of May. Nonetheless, it was a fabulous late afternoon, early evening. The 2023 recipient of the Geological Society Early Career Geologist Award is Otto Karhunen, who is a geotechnical manager at Tarmac, a member of the Western Regional Group, and also chair of the West of England branch of the Institute of Quarrying. So congratulations to him. It's really wonderful to see the excellent calibre of the early career scientists today, and to know that the future of our science is in safe hands. Please join me one final time in congratulating them all and wishing them continued success in the field of geoscience. So the next 4 recipients are receiving their awards in recognition of their significant service to geology and/or their outreach work. I'm going to start with the R.H. Worth Award. This was established in 1955. It's conferred in recognition of achievements in outreach, public engagement, and/or education carried out by an individual or an institution. And it gives me great pleasure to present this year's 2023 R.H. Worth Award to SEDS Online. And they are online. Or representatives are online. SEDS Online was initiated in March 2020 by Stephen Lockyer, Joanne Zonka, and Catherine Russell as a response to the COVID-19 lockdowns. Recognising that the pandemic was likely to cause significant disruption and anxiety to those within sedimentology, hence SEDS Online, and the broader geological community, the team established an online community where researchers could meet, exchange ideas, and keep science moving. What began as a weekly forum has since grown to a community of more than 2,500 members, with support from a global network of volunteers and financial backing from the International Association of Sedimentologists. SEDS Online quickly developed a reputation for excellent support for participants and delivery of great science through regular research webinars, daily coffee breaks, early online resources, how-to and student research webinars, and debates across multiple time zones. The community stepped in to deliver several conferences which otherwise would not have happened, including the 2020 British Sedimentological Research Group annual meeting and the 2020, 2021 and 2022 Carbonate forums. Since its formation, SEDS Online has not only served to maintain existing connections between geoscientists, but has facilitated the cultivation of new ones, making sedimentology more available and accessible to all, and demonstrating the power of online community building. In recognition of a fantastic initiative, started to help support sedimentologists at a difficult time, and which continues to be a thriving and supportive online community, it gives me great pleasure to present one of the Society's premier outreach awards to 2 of its founders, Stephen Lockyer and Joanna Polansky, who accept on behalf of all the SEDS Online team. They will join us virtually, well, they have joined us virtually, there they are, as they're currently attending the 36th IAS meeting of sedimentology. So the photo is being taken. I'm going to face forward, otherwise it's going to look really weird. And congratulations. Congratulations. I'm going to invite them to make a short response.
Joanna.
Thank you for this recognition. We didn't expect it at all. And it's amazing to have not only for us as for founder, but for the whole team of volunteers that work every day for this community, and we look forward to help the geologists in the future.
Thank you so much and congratulations. And now we come to the Distinguished Service Award. This award represents the contributions of an individual by virtue of their professional, administrative, organisational or promotional activities, and this year the award goes to John Talbot. Few Geological Society Fellows are likely to have contributed more of their time unpaid to the geological community than John. He retired after a more than 40-year career in engineering geology in 2012. Over the course of his career, John provided technical and financial project management and advice to a wide client base in both the public and private sectors, often combining his management and technical skills with public liaison and engagement, and providing an exemplary role model of how a professional geologist should present themselves to the general public. Since retiring, he has continued in his unstinting support for the profession, spending an immense amount of his own time volunteering on a wide range of committees, both in the geological and in the engineering spheres, and for other charities. At the Geological Society, John has served as a scrutineer for more than 26 years, as well as spending 5 years on council and 6 years as a member of the Chartership Committee. From 2017 to 2020, he was Vice President for Chartership, during which time he carried out an independent review of the Society's regulations. Since 2015, he has been chair of the Professional Accreditation Committee. He has also served as treasurer for the British Geotechnical Association for over 12 years, and for 10 years was a member of the Executive Committee of the Association of Geotechnical and Geo-Environmental Specialists, who awarded him honorary life membership in 2015. John Talbot, in honour of your noteworthy work and dedication to geoscience, and especially to the Society, please accept the Distinguished Service Award of the Geological Society of London.
Madam President, thank you, first of all, for your unstintingly kind and generous words. And secondly, my profound thanks to Council for bestowing the Distinguished Service Award on me. I'm deeply honoured and somewhat humbled that my modest efforts have been considered worthy of recognition. However, I would like to hijack a moment within this response to acknowledge gratefully the large number of colleagues in the geosciences community who have over the years supported me and unstintingly shared their knowledge, experience and friendship, many of whom are with us today. The motivation for my contributions to the Geological Society stems from my firm belief in the guiding principles stated by John F. Kennedy in his US presidential address in 1961, which I unashamedly paraphrase as, ask not what your society can do for you, ask what you can do for your society. I've been privileged to be a fellow of the Geological Society for well over 50 years now. In fact, ever since graduating. Sometime in the middle of my working life, I came to realize that an organization is only as good as the contributions made by its membership, and consequently, the greater the constructive input, the better the organization flourishes. And in this instance, of course, I refer to the Society. Once again, my heartfelt thanks for conferment of the Distinguished Service Award on me. Thank you.
We now come to the 2 Hoke medals. These medals are awarded to geoscientists for their contributions to science, as well as significant service to geoscience. For example, through administrative, organisational or promotional activities resulting in benefits to the community. The first of these goes to Dr. Steve Etches of the Etches Collection. Through his own efforts, Steve Etches has amassed one of the most remarkable fossil collections in the country. He has discovered numerous fossiliferous sites, as well as many new taxa, often first records ever from the Jurassic of the Dorset coast. His work focuses solely on the Kimmeridge clay, and through a lifetime's dedication, he has collected thousands of research-grade specimens, as well as publishing a series of important stratigraphic research papers and reports of new invertebrate and vertebrate fossils in leading UK journals. A plumber by trade, Steve's remarkable expertise is entirely self-taught. For some 30 years, paleontologists visited his private museum, coming away astonished at the novelty and quality of the collection, his openness to research, and the high standard of preparation work, curation, and display. In 2015, Steve donated his fossil collection to the nation under the formation of the Kimmeridge Trust charity and the creation of the Etches Collection Museum of Jurassic Marine Life. Through his efforts and those of his friends, substantial funding was won through the National Lottery Heritage Fund, and the museum opened to the public, featuring an extensive education and research programme. In 1993, he received the Paleontological Association's Award to Amateur Paleontologists, and in 1994, the Geological Society's R.H. Worth Prize for Achievement in Public Engagement. Numerous honours have followed, in particular an MBE in 2014, and in 2017, an honorary doctorate from the University of Southampton. Steve Etches, you represent the essence of the Koch Medal, which we award to you now with our great pleasure and huge congratulations.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Oh, is it? Oh,
do you want to hold it?
yeah.
Thank you.
I just hold them.
Well, thank you so much for this award. Not come from an academic background. It's unusual you stood here. As you're probably well aware, or just described, we set the museum up 6 years ago because basically material I collected from the Kimmeridge clay is of a nature that it needs to be kept in a controlled environment. And unfortunately, in Dorset, the museum couldn't guarantee to do that. So it is a great hope that one day it would be set up. And 6 years ago, it came to fruition. And we base our collection really not on what the fossils, how nice they are or whatever, is really the information we can extract from the fossils. So when we get schools and universities round, we actually teach them and show them what these fossils contain, i.e. how they lived, how they died or whatever. That's the sort of mantra that we're sort of following. And we've now, in the 6 years we've opened, our schools numbers have really increased tenfold. And we hope to go on that way. So education and research is primarily what it's all about. And at the end of the day, it's in Dorset now where it should be forevermore, hopefully, and I'm still adding to the material. So thank you so much for this award. It really means a lot. And nice to be here with you. Thank you so much.
And the other of the two Koch medals is awarded to Professor Jenny Barclay. Professor Jenny Barclay is an internationally recognized geoscientist who has made lasting contributions to volcanology and to the management of volcanic risk. Through her work on hazard, vulnerability, and risk, she has helped define the new field of social volcanology and has had a significant impact on engagement and preparedness in communities affected by volcanic activity. Jenny began her career as a petrologist, publishing important work on the phase relations of andesite magmas. She was appointed lecturer at the University of East Anglia in 1999 and promoted to Professor of Volcanology in 2014. From 2010 to 2019, she led the major NERC ESRC project, Strengthening Resilience in Volcanic Areas, which built new collaborations between scientists, agencies, practitioners, and communities affected by volcanism in Ecuador, Colombia, and the Caribbean, and inspired an ambitious and highly effective engagement programme. Currently director of the NERC-funded ARES Doctoral Training Partnership, which trains around 30 PhD students annually, Jenny has helped to promote ways to widen participation and improve equity, diversity and inclusion at postgraduate level, most recently through collaboration with the Equator Research Project. She has taken on senior advisory roles during volcanic episodes, both on Montserrat and St. Vincent. Her forensic work reanalyzing eruptions provides new perspectives on the wider social and governance context of past disasters, as well as shaping work to prevent future disasters. Jenny Barclay, the extent of your service to geoscience and the community makes you a most worthy recipient of the Koch Award, the Koch Medal of the Geological Society of London, which we award to you now with great pleasure and congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, I won a medal. Amazing. Thank you very, very much. I'm just going to open up a wee speech, but don't be alarmed, it's not forever. So it's a privilege and an honor to accept this medal. So thank you very much. To my nominators, thank you. It's a huge kindness to take the time to do a job like this. And I'm really grateful that you did this for me. As geoscientists, there's a huge job of work to be done in applying our science to the forecasting of volcanic hazards and improving outcomes for those faced with the onslaught of an eruption. And we'll get there, but we'll get there through collaboration, listening, and valuing the kind of science and service that this medal exemplifies. I've been lucky enough to work with whip-smart collaborators and passionate communities who not only brim with ideas, but show kindness, care, and intellectual generosity to the teams with whom they work too. To them, thank you. Geosciences as a whole is probably best described as being on a journey to equal, diverse, and inclusive science. For me, I found real change only happens when those who would anyway benefit from the status quo roll up their sleeves and do their fair share of the work needed to create change. So to those who have supported me, thank you. And to all of us here, a quick reminder to share your micro kindnesses widely, collaborate well, and remember to wind the ladder down and make the steps less steep for those who are coming along behind you. Thank you very much.
And now we come to the Society's 2 mid-career awards. Firstly, the Bigsby Medal. This was founded by Jeremiah Bigsby to be awarded as an acknowledgement of eminent service in any department of geology. I'm pleased to award the 2023 Bigsby Medal to Professor Stephen Barker of Cardiff University. Professor Stephen Barker is widely recognised as a world leader in paleoclimate research. His novel analytical techniques have delivered fundamental insights into the global carbon cycle and climate variability, producing a step change in our knowledge and understanding of abrupt climate change on timescales of tens to hundreds of years. Steve's studies are based firmly in the geological record. In a paper published in 2002 with his PhD supervisor, Harry Elderfield, he discovered that the microscopic shells of foraminifera were heavier during glacial times than interglacials, allowing him to quantify surface ocean PCO2 change over the last deglaciation. Steve continued his work on the carbon cycle as a postdoctoral researcher with Wally Brooker at Lamont and later with Andy Ridgewell at Bristol, addressing questions relating to the biological pump, atmospheric radiocarbon, and deep ocean ventilation. Now Professor in Earth Science at Cardiff University, his recent work has transformed our understanding of abrupt climate change and its interaction with longer timescale Milankovitch variations. Steve's deep understanding of the climate system across multiple timescales led him to be chosen as lead reviewer for the Geological Society's statement on climate change in 2020. An advocate for fair practice in scientific publication, he has championed CREDIT, a contributor role taxonomy, which introduces new incentives for fairly acknowledging all contributors to research outputs, including technical support staff and others who have historically been underrepresented. Without your novel techniques providing greater insight into climate change, please accept with your novel techniques providing greater insight into climate change, please accept today the Bigsby Medal of the Geological Society of London. We present this with our congratulations and our confidence in your onward successful future in this vital work. Stephen.
Thank you. Just a few thanks and one plea. Firstly, thanks very much to the Geological Society and the awarding committee for honouring me with this award, and all of those who have made arrangements very helpfully for this day, this event. As I said in a previous correspondence to the Society, this award means a great deal to me. As a one-time geologist graduating from Edinburgh Uni in '98, my research in paleoclimate is on the margins of traditional geology, the traditional discipline of geology, so I'm very proud to be here today. In terms of why I am here, I think my greatest thanks must be to my good friend and colleague, Gregor Knorr of the Alfred Wegener Institute in Bremerhaven, Germany. I met Gregor in 2006 as we both started work at Cardiff, and we soon found that we shared a common interest in quaternary paleoclimate, albeit from a very different perspectives, Gregor being a physicist and myself a geologist. And even though he left Cardiff in 2008, we've had a continuous and close working relationship since then, which is still going strong. So without Gregor, many of my papers that I'm most proud of may not actually exist. So thank you, Gregor. Obviously, I want to thank all those around me at work, including students and laboratory technicians, administrative support, but also colleagues who've supported me for various ways over the last 25 years. And finally, thanks to my excellent wife and daughters who can't be here today. Now, I have one plea, and I don't think this counts as political. As you will all know, Blue Skies or Discovery Science research funding in the UK is not particularly easy to come by in the current climate. But I would like to ask if there was anybody from NERC here today, that's the Natural Environment Research Council, if they would consider levelling the playing field in terms of discovery science funding. In particular, NERC's demand management strategy, which penalises individual researchers based on where they work, is, from my own perspective, crushing our ability to raise funds for research. For anyone who doesn't know about how this works, NERC penalises universities with low success rates, with the result that many universities are not allowed to submit only allowed to submit one grant application per round. That's 2 per year for a whole university. And the resulting internal competition resulted in many researchers simply unable to submit applications for funding. And in my perspective, this is untenable. I'm not here to tell NERC what they should do instead, but at least one of the other members of the RC UK has an alternative strategy which might be more fair. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much again for the award, and I'm happy to have another 25 years of research ahead of me.
Next, we come to the Aberconwy Medal, which recognises distinction in the practice of applied or economic geoscience. This year, the medal is awarded to Dr. Andrew Hart of Atkins Global. Dr. Andrew Hart is an engineering geologist with over 25 years of experience in assessing the impacts of ground conditions, geohazards, and engineering constraints on a wide variety of onshore and offshore infrastructure projects. He is currently Chief Engineering Geologist and Geomorphologist in Atkins Ground Engineering Practice. Throughout his career, Andrew has spearheaded the use of digital technologies and remote sensing to aid the understanding of geomorphological mapping, terrain evaluation, and geohazard behaviour across project areas. His work has helped reduce geohazard risks and project costs across a range of infrastructure projects, including mountain roads, ONG oil and gas pipelines, and offshore wind farms, often taking lessons learned from one sector and applying them to another. He has made a significant contribution to the industry more widely, mentoring and supporting colleagues through the chartership process, acting as a chartered geologist scrutineer, serving as membership secretary and treasurer for the Geological Remote Sensing Group, being an editorial board member for the Quarterly Journal of Engineering, Geology and Hydrogeology, and is currently external examiner at Portsmouth University. He has authored and co-authored over 40 papers and given over 65 technical lectures to a range of audiences, including international conferences, professional groups, university students, and the public. Dr. Andrew Hart, in recognition of your work to reduce geohazard risks and also your wider contributions to society, please accept with our sincere compliments the Aberconway Medal of the Geological Society. This doesn't have a button.
Oh, yeah.
Is that good?
I can see the vote. Thank you, thank you.
If I can get into my phone, I'll try and ad lib it. I can't do that. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the Geological Society. Wow, I still can't get over that I was even nominated for this. So thank you to those who did that. I never expected anything like this in my career. I'm one of those folks who just gets on with it, gets their head down and tries to solve the next problem. And so to do that, I must thank my colleagues. I've worked with many colleagues over the years, and without their support, their mentoring, their guidance, and sometimes just trying to keep me on the straight and narrow, I wouldn't be able to do what I do today. But also I would like to thank my father, who came up from Plymouth this morning. He was the inspiration for me getting into geology in the first place. And my wife, a long-suffering wife, who puts up with my geological ramblings and wanderings and traveling around the world, because it is a journey. And all as geologists, we're on this journey, and it's a great adventure. This is certainly career highlights, and long may it continue, but certainly inspiration for what to do next. Thank you.
The Dewey model, the Dewey Medal was made possible by a generous endowment from Professor John Dewey. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award, and it's given to a geologist who has championed the use of classical geological mapping or field observations, and who has a strong record of training, leading and encouraging others to practically pursue advances in geology by these means. This year, the Dewey Medal is awarded to Professor Robert Holdsworth of the University of Durham. Professor Bob Holdsworth has been a significant figure in UK geology for nearly 4 decades. His work, which spans a wide range of geological disciplines, is rooted in extensive, meticulous and innovative field mapping and observation of deformed continental rocks worldwide, merging new digital technologies with traditional field mapping methods. Following a BSc at Liverpool and a PhD at the University of Leeds, Bob held positions at the Universities of Liverpool and Reading before joining Durham University in 1989. He is currently chair in structural geology at Durham, where his exemplary training of graduate students was recognised in 2007 with the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Doctoral Supervision. Bob's publication record is formidable, including 151 journal articles, 29 book chapters, 11 edited books, 3 edited volumes and 11 reports. His research interests range across weakening mechanisms along faults, fractured crystalline reservoirs, strain partitioning and transpression transtension zones, reactivation tectonics and flow kinematics and crustal and mantle shear zones. He has a special skill in finding appropriate field examples of these phenomena, then devising strategies for field mapping and data collection that yield important results, including use of geochronology. He has sat on numerous editorial boards and expert panels and is currently chair of the Scottish Geology Trust. In 2022, he was awarded Fellowship of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. For your contributions to geosciences, including your innovative field mapping, which merges new digital technologies with traditional methods, your exemplary teaching and a very impressive publication record, Bob Holdsworth, we are delighted to present to you the Dewey Medal of the Geological Society. Don't worry.
Well, it is nice to be, yes, the recipient of the Dewey Model. Words fail me. I am, of course, most honoured to receive this award from the Society for doing an aspect of my research that's really dominated so much of my professional career, and something which has, without doubt, given me enormous joy. Our planet is an extraordinary thing. And as field workers, we're privileged to visit some of the wildest and most exotic places, from the nunataks of East Greenland, the wild beauty of Newfoundland shores, from the dense jungles of Brazil to the exotic and captivating cultural experience that is Japan. I have indeed been blessed with a wealth of unforgettable memories. Having said that, it is, of course, the Scottish Highlands where my heart truly lies. Now, none of this would have been possible without the support and extreme forbearance of my family, most notably my wife, Michelle, but also our 4 sons, Chris, Tom, Callum, and Daniel. It also would have been nowhere near as successful without the extraordinary work of my mainly PhD students, over 50 of them, since I first started out in 1984. When I arrived in Durham, I was tartly informed that I should concentrate on my own research and that the work of my PhD students would be somewhat secondary in importance. What utter rot. The training of the next generation of scientists is, from my view, a privilege. It's not a chore. More importantly, these mostly young, enthusiastic, and extremely capable scientists who've come along for the ride for a while, have contributed immeasurably to the body of work that is celebrated here. Without their hard work, incisive minds, I quite literally would not be standing here today. And I certainly wouldn't have had anything like as much fun. So it's to them that I dedicate this award, and thank you again.
The medal named for Joseph Prestwich goes this year to Dr. Teal Riley of the British Antarctic Survey. Dr. Teal Riley has made outstanding contributions to our knowledge of Antarctic geology. Over 16 field seasons and 2 marine geology cruises in Antarctica, his work has furthered our understanding of the history of the breakup of Gondwana, the origins of volcanism in the Antarctic Peninsula and the Patagonian Andes of South America, and the tectonic history of the Scotia Arc. Following a PhD in geochemistry at the University of Bristol, Teal joined the British Antarctic Survey as a geochemist in 1995. He now leads the Surveying and Mapping Department in Geological Sciences, and as Deputy Leader of Geology and Geophysics is the BAS's most senior geologist. Teal has a formidable reputation as possessing the most comprehensive knowledge of the geology of the British Antarctic Territory. He has been responsible for the publication of 7 new geological and bathymetric maps of the area, bringing together more than 50 years of mapping, updated with new field, geochronological and stratigraphical data. His expertise has provided specialist reports for the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, and his current collaborations involve co-workers in the UK, Ireland, the USA, and Chile. He is now pioneering the use of shortwave visible near infrared remote sensing for lithological mapping in frontier regions, which he is applying to rocks in Antarctica, Greenland and Iceland. Dr. Teal Riley, your contribution to our knowledge of Antarctic geology has been and continues to be exceptional. It gives me great pleasure to present to you the Prestwich Medal.
Thank you, Madam President and Council, for awarding me the Prestwich Medal. Myself, and probably like thousands of other young geologists embarking on an undergraduate career, I think we're probably really drawn to the discipline for the idea of doing, or the thought of doing geological mapping in some of the most remote mountainous places on the planet. And for myself to still be doing that 35 years later is a real privilege. It's obviously less geological mapping than it used to be. I obviously spend a lot more time at my PC or in the laboratory, but geological mapping is still at the very heart of what I do. And I try and instill that to other people at the British Antarctic Survey and PhD students as well, that geological mapping is still a fundamental part of the role of being an earth scientist. It wouldn't be possible to work in such a logistically demanding places, Antarctica, without the support of lots and lots of people, be it headquarters back in Cambridge, support staff at bases in Antarctica, from our chefs to our plumbers to our vehicle mechanics, our air crew, pilots, ship's crew, ship's captains, etc. And also field assistants who put up with people like me for 3 months in a tent in Antarctica while I'm out doing geological mapping. And also to support at home as well. I often disappear for 4 or 5 months during the course of the British winter, leaving Anita at home with often, or earlier in my career, very young children as well. So I'm really happy to sort of acknowledge it's their award as well. I think one of the real perks to working in a place like Antarctica, for me anyway, is there are still remote valley glaciers, mountainous valley glaciers, where you're seeing geology for the very first time. And there aren't too many places left on the planet now where you can actually go into a place knowing that you're the first geologist to be there. On one level, it's pretty exciting. On another, it's quite daunting. You're the one who's creating the stratigraphy for the first time, trying to work out the volcanic history for the first time, how it all ties into geology across the Scotia Arc, into South America, into South Africa, for example. But that's a real pleasure to still be able to do that. And actually, it reminds me of when I was at Bristol, my PhD supervisor, Ken Bailey, who spent the early part of his career working in East Africa. So he was a survey geologist in the late 1950s. Working in what is now Zambia and Zimbabwe, and his tales of sort of working in those frontier regions from that time really whetted my own appetite really for doing something similar. And finally, I think probably like a lot of recipients of medals, there's a tendency to look at the lists of previous recipients of the award, and one name really stuck out for me actually, which was Sir Vivian Fuchs, who won the medal in 1960. Sir Vivian is probably best known for leading the Commonwealth Transantarctic Expedition, which traversed the continent via the South Pole, along with Sir Edmund Hillary as well. Probably what's less well known about Sir Vivian Fuchs, he was the first director of the British Antarctic Survey, and he was also a very fine field geologist. And as I've been compiling geological maps more recently of different parts of British Antarctic territory, there are certain areas that are inaccessible to us now without unlimited helicopter access. But a lot of these places were visited by people like Sir Vivian Fuchs back in the 1950s, who traveled there with dog sledge teams across the frozen sea, across sea ice, to get to some of these most remote regions that I said just would be impossible to get to today. So it's almost come full circle for me with really sort of getting into the work of people like Sir Vivian Fuchs and his contemporaries, that real vanguard of geologists who went to Antarctica back in the 1950s. So yes, it's a real privilege to see my name on that list of the Prestwich Medal along with Vivian Fuchs. So thank you.
And now we come to our 4 Senior Career Achievement Awards. The first of these is the William Smith Medal. This celebrates outstanding achievement in the field of applied geology. And this year we're delighted to present it to Dr. Karen Hunghoy of the British Geological Survey. Dr. Karen Hunghoy's career has combined academic research, mineral exploration, geological survey work and policy engagement. This impressive combination of skills makes her uniquely qualified for her role as Director of the British Geological Survey, a post she has held since 2019. Karen began her career in academic research with a PhD at the University of Copenhagen, focusing on magmatic evolution during continental rifting in the North Atlantic, followed by postdoctoral research at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. After subsequently working as a research associate and research scientist at Woods Hole and Columbia University, respectively, she worked full-time in mineral exploration before being appointed as head of the Department of Petrology and Economic Geology at the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland in 2011. Whilst there, she was a driving force behind the establishment of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology's Raw Material Knowledge and Innovation Community, the world's largest community in the raw materials sector. Over the past decade, Karen has focused on the use of critical raw materials for the energy transition, fueled by her determination that geological research and information, if developed and communicated appropriately, is the fundamental basis for a sustainable future. In 2015, she joined EIT Raw Materials, becoming CEO half a year later. During her time at EIT, Karen built collaboration between industry, policy and research interests and communicated the importance of geology to the energy transition with EU policymakers. Karen joined the British Geological Survey in 2019, becoming the organisation's first female director. In her first few years at the BGS, her professionalism and exceptional communication skills have been critical, as she has overseen finalising a restructuring of the organisation, ensuring it is responding to current societal needs. She sits on numerous advisory boards and is a member of the UK Government Expert Group on Critical Minerals. Her leadership and ability to communicate with geologists and non-geologists alike make her a fantastic ambassador for the geosciences in the UK and across Europe, and a key figure in our work to transition towards net zero. From making critical raw materials a key focus for the energy transition as CEO of EIT Raw Materials, to your leadership of the BGS, you are ensuring that geoscience is at the forefront of a sustainable future. Karen Hunghoy, it's my great pleasure to award you the William Smith Medal of the Geological Survey.
All right.
Senior as in important.
Thank you.
As in
Thank you.
elderly.
I was just, thank you so much, Ruth. I was just saying to her very quietly, I can't believe you called me senior. And for those of you who are not, I can assure you, I don't feel that way. And that will probably never go away. I certainly don't hope so. So thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you to the Geological Society. Thank you to those who nominated me. It's like people before me, I just want to say what they said. It's a huge honor. It's also very humbling, and I've certainly spent some time since I was told about this award, reflecting over how I got to where I am today, what my path has been. It's been quite convoluted, to be honest with you, and why it has looked the way it has. And like many of you, probably I've arrived at the fact that I've been just tremendously privileged in working with fantastic people across all stages of my career. And I actually started out writing down quite a lot of names, and then I figured that would get old in a hurry. And so rather than mentioning anyone in specific, I'll just do a couple of sort of touchdowns of what I think has been really formative and important and influential for me. We just heard the last medalist here talk about Antarctica. So the big game changer for me, a really, really important step for me, was the first time I went to Greenland when I was a geology student. I was brought into Greenland as a student by my then professor, Kent Brooks. And that first summer in Greenland, I learned so much. And it was also my first introduction into mineral exploration. There was a mineral exploration company on site, and I was invited to stay on a little bit longer and work for this mineral exploration company. And that was a very transformative year for me. I learned a lot from the leadership in this company, from the president of that company. I learned a lot from so many people that I met that year. And it was the first of many field seasons for me, many of them in Greenland, most of them in Greenland, and many of them doing mineral exploration, many of them doing academia, some of them doing a little bit of both. But common for those first years was I met a lot of people who were tremendously important to me. They gave me great opportunities. Some of them gave me jobs. They supported me, they mentored me, they helped me in so many ways. Sort of fast forward, I think the last decade and a half or so, I have transitioned from actually looking at specific mineral deposits or specific geological problems, and rather I've sort of converted to looking at resources on a societal level, on a global level, and trying to understand that and trying to have some influence in how we think about that. And also thinking about geology and geoscience as not just a specific geological problem, but actually the foundation for every solution to every challenge that faces us as a society. Many new people have helped me in that and supported me in that and enabled that in me. And it has led me to many different countries, working with people with many different nationalities, many different skill sets. And it's just been an incredible honor and pleasure to do so. I think where I find myself today is this firm, strong belief that we are indeed part of the solution, a very important part of the solution, and the beginning of the solution. I always like to say everything starts with a rock, whether it's understanding climate change, mitigating it, geological hazards, resource management, all of those things that we need to do in society. It starts with us, and it starts with understanding the rock and understanding the subsurface. And so again, thank you to everyone who's been very influential for me in being able to participate in that. It's been a great honor. It's also been great fun. I'm also going to endorse the word fun is important in here. And it's been really great to see some of the early career awards today, because I'm very hopeful that the next generation of superstar geologists are going to actually take on that task of helping us solve all of those problems. And if I could help just a tiny, tiny bit, like so many before me have helped me, I'd be really honored to do that as well. So thank you very much again to the Geological Society.
The Murchison Medal is named for Sir Roderick Impey Murchison. In 2023, this is conferred on Dr. Mathilde Canat of Institut de Physique du Globe. And apologies for my pronunciation. Few scientists can be said to have changed the direction of an entire field of research, but Dr. Mathilde Canat's work has achieved exactly that, with her so-called plum pudding model, providing a cornerstone of our understanding of the formation of ocean crusts. Like many mid-ocean ridge specialists, Mathilde started by studying ophiolites, graduating with a PhD from the University of Nantes in 1983. Following postdoctoral studies at Durham University in various research positions, she joined the Institut de Physique du Globe in Paris in 2001, where she is currently a senior researcher. Between 1993 and 1996, she published 3 classic papers in which she proposed what remains the reference model for slow-spreading lithosphere nearly 30 years on. The plum pudding model posited that the new sea floor is formed from rocks that have been tectonically uplifted from the mantle, with the concept of plumbs of gabbro within the mantle, even questioning how the base of the crust is defined. In the 2000s, Mathilde began exploring the ultra-slow Southwest Indian Ridge, which led to a series of seminal papers defining 3 types of sea floor that encompass the tectonic and magmatic processes at ultra-slow ridges. This work triggered an explosion of geophysical and geological campaigns to understand this type of ridge, indirectly leading to the discovery of oceanic core complexes. Her current work focuses on the reaction of seawater or hydrothermal fluids with mantle peridotite. Alongside her own research, Mathilde has been a leader of the French and European marine geology community. She has been the chief scientist on more than 16 research expeditions and was instrumental in the implementation of the monitoring of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge Seabed Observatory. She is a devoted mentor for students and colleagues, supervising numerous students from master's students to postdoctoral researchers, and continuing to teach regularly on graduate and undergraduate courses. She is the recipient of numerous awards, including the Silver Medal of the French National Centre for Scientific Research in 2009, the Stephen Muller Medal from the European Geoscience Union in 2020. Mathilde Canat, your work indirectly led to the discovery of ocean core complexes, and you continue to be tireless in your research today, as well as an exceptional teacher. It is therefore with pleasure and our greatest confidence that we present you with the 2023 Murchison Medal.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a great surprise and really a great honor to learn that I had won this award. And my nominators are a mystery to me, but I really thank them. And well, okay, so what I can say, it's coming late. It's like Karen said, it's difficult because people have addressed most of the topics. But I'd like to insist on 2 things. One is that marine geoscience, a little bit like Antarctic studies, relies on a lot of people. You don't do that by yourself. You can't go to the field by yourself. So it's obviously a very collective work, and therefore it's a very collective award and medal. And it's collective beyond the people I've actually directly co-signed papers with. It's collective in the sense that there is truly, and there has been I was very lucky to have that during my career, actually. There is a ridge community, an inter-ridge study community that has been very lively, on and off, sometimes a little bit off, but now it's reviving. And it's really great because when you come into a field and you immediately can get easily into the conversation, meeting the great name of people that you have read the papers of, but you can meet them not in a formal conference, but at workshops and things like that. And that's tremendously important. And I think it's, my first message is that we should, because science is really about conversation. It's, if you want to have success, you need to find what the conversation is about and what you can bring to it. And in order to really identify this, the conversation must be really lively. And that's why, for example, things like these online paper study groups or online initiatives that have kept us going through COVID have been so useful. Okay, so that's my first message. And the other message is that although the talk I'm going to give you is truly completely about oceanic lithosphere and so hard rock, recently I've come to really champion approaches of marine geoscience that is integrated with as looking at our studies as part of environmental studies. So, and recognizing that particularly through hydrothermal circulation, but also through the role of microbes in triggering and facilitating, mediating some chemical reactions between rocks and fluids. Geology in the ocean floor is really part of the more general and really urgent need for knowledge on how the ocean works, and particularly the deep ocean. And so the work I'm actually trying to push is really at the frontier between water column oceanography, solid earth science, biology, and also social studies, because there is a lot we have to, we recognize that in order to pass our knowledge, our scientific knowledge on the environments, we need to understand what we are doing first, why we're asking these questions, and whether we could ask ourselves other questions that would be more societally relevant. And for that, colleagues in social sciences are really useful, but also because presently you are well aware that the deep ocean is the focus of a lot of projects of mineral exploitation and things like that. And so there is a real important role of our research as guides to regulations and to inform, so work with people who are into legal research to see how we can best use actual scientific knowledge to better regulate the uses and the preservation of the ocean. So thank you very much again for this great honor.
The Lyell Medal is named in honor of one of the 19th century's most influential geologists. This medal in 2023 goes to Professor Peter Clift of University College London and Charles T. McCord, Professor Junior Chair of Petroleum Geology of Louisiana State University. Professor Peter Clift's substantial contributions to geoscience cover a wide range of fields, including rifted and active continental margins, sedimentation, river systems, and Tethyan geology. His outstanding research career, including more than 260 peer-reviewed papers so far, is characterized by his remarkable ability to adapt to new fields as novel challenges appear, and has resulted in numerous groundbreaking studies. Following his PhD and postgraduate research at the University of Edinburgh, Peter joined the ocean drilling program at Texas A&M in 1993, followed by positions at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution and the University of Aberdeen. He held the Charles T. McCord Chair in Petroleum Geology at Louisiana State University from 2012 to 2023, and has recently joined University College London as a Royal Society Wolfson Professorial Fellow. He combines research with undergraduate teaching, PhD supervision, and outreach activities, including most recently a series of YouTube videos covering monsoon geology. Peter's research has been truly global, encompassing studies in Greece, Ireland, Alaska, the South China Sea, the Himalayas, Indus River system, and more. His latest research includes a new IODP drilling program for the Sunda Shelf, source to sink studies of sediment transport in the Mississippi using zircon UPB dating, and research related to the carbon cycle. Following his successful study of Cenozoic sedimentary carbon subduction. He has authored 2 books and acted as editor for 7 special collections, including 3 Geological Society special publications, and has convened numerous meetings, including Asian Climate and Biosphere at Wellington House in 2022. An outstanding international ambassador for UK geoscience, Peter is never shy to challenge scientific orthodoxy and always ready to propose and test new hypotheses. His groundbreaking research has led to generational shifts in understanding and stimulated new avenues of research. His numerous awards and honours include Fellowship of the Geological Society of America, and in 2022, the Distinguished Research Medal of Louisiana State University. Peter Clift, from your outstanding global research career to your extraordinary number of peer-reviewed papers, you are a most worthy recipient of the Lyell Medal 2023. Please receive it with our warmest congratulations.
Wow, how exciting. It's really fun to be here at the Geological Society. I joined the GeoSoc when I was a second-year undergraduate, and I've been sending you checks ever since, so it's all been good. It was, yeah, a wonderful, and I always remember the first time I spoke here for the first time, I really thought, oh, this is, you know, I've made it now. I'm actually standing behind the podium of the Geological Society. It's always been one of the centers of my professional life, so it's really moving for me to be able to be here and to be part of this wider Geological Society family. Whether through publications, the meetings are really good. Anyone who's run a meeting for another geological or geophysical society, you don't know what you're missing. The GeoSoc is definitely certainly the funnest and the easiest ones to run. And hosting the meetings are a great pleasure. Milling around outside and making friends and renewing old friendships is an important thing. And in fact, for that matter, meeting the Geological Society in different places all over the world. I was like going to like HEU or EGU and seeing the booth there with the people from the GeoSoc, and you can go and chat to them. And if you're lucky, they'll get you drunk at a little reception a bit later. So that's always good fun. And it's beautiful also to see old friends and new friends for that matter here from various times of my past. People I taught when I was a PhD student or worked in Alaska in the field together or at various other institutes. I suppose I should, if I'm going to think of anyone, I wanted to thank my old advisor, Alistair Robertson and John Dixon when I was in Edinburgh, who got me started and excited about field work. And I suppose my old friend Yanni Neyman, who is a professor in Lancaster, and she was the first person who got me on a plane to Asia and got me started and excited about Himalayan geology, although we had no idea where it was going to go at the time. And my colleagues that I know and work with in Asia through to this very day in China, Hong Kong, and in Vietnam. So I'm not going to blather on any further because I'm sure there's a nice cup of tea waiting for us before too long. And I'll talk more about climate and tectonics in a few minutes. But thank you so much. It's a great honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Finally, we come to the Wollaston Medal. This is the Society's senior medal and highest accolade, first awarded to William Smith in 1831. Today, this award goes to Professor Cathy Weyler of the University of Edinburgh. Professor Cathy Weyler is internationally recognized for her pioneering work on geomagnetism and the dynamics and thermal history of the Earth's core. Cathy's early work on core convection was published in Nature in 1980, before the completion of her PhD. After graduating from the University of Cambridge with a thesis entitled Some Applications of Inverse Theory to Geomagnetism, she carried out 2 years of postdoctoral research before joining the University of Leeds in 1983 as a lecturer in geophysics. In 1994, she moved to Edinburgh to take up her current post as chair of geophysics, becoming the first female professor of geophysics in the UK, and from 1992 to 2000 was head of department. Cathy's early research in mathematical geophysics led to fundamental advances in our understanding of fluid flow in the Earth's core. Since the 1980s, she has collaborated with a wide range of geophysicists, geochemists, and geologists, focusing on core surface flows and processes operating in active continental rift settings. Her work has been fundamental to more recent studies of core dynamics and the variability of the Earth's magnetic field, as well as studies of the Martian and lunar crusts. Her recent co-leadership of the NERC-funded project, Rift Volcanism, Past, Present, and Future, has resulted in 70 important publications by UK and African scientists at various career stages. These contribute to our understanding of the rifting of continents to form new ocean basins. Currently president of the International Union of Geodesy and Geophysicists, Cathy has served the scientific community in numerous roles, including president of the Royal Astronomical Society and president of the International Association of Geomagnetism and Aeronomy. Her numerous awards and accolades include the Royal Astronomical Society's 2019 Service Award for Geophysics, the RAS's 2013 Price Medal, and in 2018, an OBE for services to geophysics. In 2006, asteroid 5914 was named in her honor. Cathy Weyler in acknowledgement of your pioneering work and your outstanding contribution to fundamental advances in your field, please accept the Wollaston Medal of the Geological Society with our warmest congratulations.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted and honoured to be awarded this year's Wollaston Medal of the Geological Society. And as the President said, in your field, I feel a real fraud because I am a geophysicist, not a geologist. So I have no business getting it, but it's just superb anyway. I'm afraid what's going to follow will be a long list of thank yous accumulated over many decades, but hopefully with a little bit of entertainment value in there as well. So I'm going to start with my PhD, which was in the University of Cambridge, where David Gubbins was foolish enough to take me on as a research student. He's been an inspiration and a guiding influence ever since. As a PhD student, I was given the freedom to develop my own ideas, which is really a euphemism for saying that along with Dave's other students, I did pretty much what I wanted. Even now, he will occasionally bemoan the fact that none of his students ever worked on what they were supposed to. But he provided just the right amount of support and guidance for us to succeed. Jack Jacobs, then Professor of Geophysics, also played an important role. Many friendships made there with other PhD students have stood the test of time, and one is here with me today. An important scientific collaboration began in the third year of my PhD when Dave Gubbins told me that now I'd done something, a new idea on probing the Earth's core with geomagnetism, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. I needed to get known in the US. Why don't you write to Bob Parker at Scripps Institution of Oceanography? He works on interesting stuff. And in those pre-email days, it really was writing. In time, a letter came back saying I could go for a couple of weeks and he'd find something for me to do. That gave me the opportunity to go to my first international conference in California and to the University of Colorado in Boulder, where Ned Benton had independently come up with similar ideas on core geomagnetism with me. So I spent several happy summers in Boulder collaborating with Ned. My time at Scripps working with Bob Parker, which turned out to be several months rather than a couple of weeks, until I was summoned back to Cambridge by an irate supervisor, got me involved in electromagnetic induction. Another abiding memory of my Cambridge days is the number of international visitors who's contributed significantly to the rich scientific environment. One of them was Bob Langle from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, who was leading the first terrestrial satellite vector magnetometry mission, MagSat. Also a little more of that later. I went on to have a very fruitful collaboration with him and later his colleague, Mike Pruka, studying satellite measurements of the magnetic fields, locked in crustal rocks of Earth, Mars and Moon. As already mentioned, from Cambridge, I moved to the University of Leeds. My geophysics colleagues there, Jim Bryden, Graham Stewart, Derek Fairhead and Roger Clark, were incredibly tolerant of my early attempts at teaching and supervising and showed me how to be an academic. They had a British Council-funded collaboration with their geophysical counterparts at the University of Zimbabwe and suggested, on the basis of my electromagnetic induction work with Bob Parker, a study of one of the sedimentary basins there. No amount of protestation that this was theoretical and I'd never done any field work and cut any ice at all. So shortly thereafter, I embarked on work that has been an equally fulfilling part of my career. There's nothing like collecting your own data, especially in Africa, initially ably supported by staff from NERC's geophysical equipment facility as I learnt the ropes. As also mentioned, my migration north continued when I was offered the chair of geophysics at the University of Edinburgh, where I've been since. Here too, I have a wonderful bunch of colleagues, more widely than just Earth Sciences as my roles have grown. More African fieldwork followed, first in Kenya, but also in Djibouti and many projects in Ethiopia. Sophie Oto, formerly at what I would call the University of Brest, it's not its proper French name, has been a great collaborator on most of these. My long association with Ethiopia was initiated by Cindy Ebbinger, who had joined the staff at Leeds sometime before I left, when she invited me to participate in a project studying the main Ethiopian rift that she co-led. Besides Sophie and Cindy, I'm immensely grateful to my Ethiopian collaborators at Addis Ababa University, especially Shimilis Fiseha and Atale Ayeli, and to Tim Wright from the University in Leeds and Juliet Biggs from the University of Bristol, who have led or co-led subsequent major Ethiopian multidisciplinary projects. Integrating results from electromagnetic induction with those from other techniques has been so rewarding. Incidentally, 2 of these projects have led to special publications of the Geological Society, so I can pretend to have a small connection. At Edinburgh, I've also continued research on the Earth's core using satellite magnetometry with a particularly fruitful collaboration with Niels Olsen and Chris Finley at DTU Space, Denmark. Last but not least, I have had and continue to have a fantastic group of research students and postdocs. I really shouldn't single any of them out, but I will mention Kieran Beggan, who did his PhD with me and then joined British Geological Survey's Geomagnetism Group, where he is now a key collaborator and co-supervisor. There are many others I haven't had time to mention above, to whom I'd also like to convey my thanks. This includes a huge number of people around the world who've helped me tackle numerous leadership roles. But let me finish by thanking most sincerely those responsible for nominating me for this award and the Geological Society for conferring it on me. Thank you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the awards ceremony. It's always been a joy to be at President's Day and listening to the awe-inspiring achievements of our recipients. It's been even more of a pleasure for me, despite some of the tongue twisters that I obviously hadn't rehearsed adequately. To be in this position to honour them today. It's wonderful to see you all here, either in the room or virtually. We're going to take a short comfort break now, just about 10 minutes. I'm afraid we're not offering you a cup of tea just now, but there will be refreshments